Hi and welcome to the DBS Institute channel. My name is DC Breaks, and in this video I'm going to be exploring jump up drum and bass style lead design using kilohertz phase plant. Rather than focusing on one specific sound though, I'm going to look at a workflow that you can use so that you can very easily create a multitude of original and modern sounding jump up style leads for your tunes. So let's jump on in. So modern jump up leads tend to be quite resonant, high frequency, short and repetitive. So I'm going to have those goals in mind, if you like, as I'm starting to design this sound. Let's start with an analog waveform. As we want something that's high frequency, we want those upper harmonics more so than the kind of lower sub-frequencies. So rather than having a sine wave, you might choose something relatively harmonic like a saw wave. And then to kind of shape it into a short repetitive note, bring the sustain down and just increase the decay a little bit. Now to create something really ringy, we might use something like a form of frequency modulation or phase modulation, and to really kind of mangle the waveform that we're using. So again, using an analog waveform, and rather than having its signal actually audible, we're just going to delete the envelope and instead use this to control, for example, the frequency of our note here. Now, if this has any harmonic setting, it will be able to be played on the keyboard and it will respond to different frequencies of the notes that we play. But if we put that to 0, we can instead control the frequency using the shift control. But as you can see, it can be a bit laborious, lots of mouse moving to kind of move it up. So a great thing that I like to do is to use the macro controls, and then you've got a much easier knob for controlling a wider range of values. And we can use this kind of approach for controlling lots of different aspects of our sound. So we might choose to do the same for sync. We may choose to do the same even for the level, because you can see just that having the level, or how much is being sent, can have quite a dramatic impact on the sound as well. And yeah, after a while of doing this, you'll kind of get a feel for which things have the best kind of results. But essentially what this means is that we can kind of quickly dial in some experimental settings and just play around quite quickly to get something that we like the sound of. Okay, quite like that one there, for example. Now it's probably going to be fairly limited to what notes work well. Somewhere around there sounds quite good. And so the thing that I'm going to want to try and do now is bring out some of that kind of interesting sort of ringing quality that it has using some effects processors, or snap-ins as they're called in phase plant. So there's loads of different ways that we can do this. Comb filtering works quite well. Also frequency shifters, the resonator. So let's say the resonator, for example, is something we're going to want to use. Might right-click this, give it the lowest value, which is 8.18 Hertz. I don't know why that is the case, but it is. Hit plus, and then again give ourselves the full range on macro 4. And then depending on what we're going for, just tune that to something that sounds good. That sounds quite good. Let's try also the frequency shifter. Again, we just want to kind of get this as low as possible. I think the bottom value is minus 5,000. There it is, yep. So let's just try that. And then straight away in the middle there, I'm getting this kind of weird combination of the resonator and the frequency shifter that just is making it sound really ringy and kind of fat. So that sounds great. At this point, I'd probably look to just try and fatten this up. And if you've watched any of my other videos, you'll know that one of my favorite things to do is just come to multipass and dial in some of the included processes. So the OTT simulator not preset is quite good. Might just need to back this off a little bit because it's compressing the tail and just kind of making that overly loud, so just kind of shortened it a little bit with the decay on the resonator and the decay on the actual envelope itself. Yeah, that sounds all right. Might put a tiny little bit of reverb on that just to soften it up a little bit. At this point, we could experiment with adding some additional distortion in there as well, which again, if you've seen some of the other videos, we can do by inserting distortion within the generation layer itself. You can hear how that's really accentuating the kind of upper frequencies. And we can also explore other things as well. So I mentioned comb filters. This can be quite good. Again, bring this all the way down, give ourselves the full range of that, or nearly the full range. And you'll notice at the moment, unlike all my other videos on Faceplant, I haven't used any other modulators so far. So we've got this kind of good tone without really having to do too much. So rather than kind of cover my same tracks and talk about how you can use modulators for, LFOs for modulating different parameters, I thought it'd be good to just look at another way you can use modulators, which is for generating ideas. So once I've got this sound, if I have a backing track, I might program a MIDI part for it, that'll be fine. But we could also use an LFO table to give us some rhythmic ideas as well. So if we come into the complex folder within LFOs, there's a lot of these patterns which are quite good for doing that. Something like this pattern bender, for example. So for example, we could take this, route this to our master gain. If we bring that all the way down, it will go between 0 and whatever we set it to. So in this case, it's just going to play this kind of simple pattern like so. We can link this to the grid. Let's give this something like half bar cycles. If we turn the sustain up on this, we can hear how that sounds. And then we can sweep through to create some different patterns. Might be a bit fast, so let's just bring that to 16. And that might just start giving us some ideas for grooves we can use in the track. And yeah, as a workflow, it's great because once you've kind of got something set up, you can easily just obviously save that. Let's give this a name, jump up lead 3, something imaginative like that. And then we can quickly tweak the macros and come up with something perhaps completely different, maybe choose a different pattern. That's quite cool. And so you can see very quickly you can come up with some interesting tones that you can use in your tunes, and really then it's just a case of either programming a MIDI part or perhaps bouncing off some of those sounds, resampling them and going from there. So let me know what you think about this approach in the comments below. Don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button to get more great videos like this straight to your inbox from DBS Institute and myself, DC Breaks. But that's it for this video, and I'll catch you in the next one.